Hello, word nerds, and happy Sunday, and welcome back. Oh, I am so happy we're back. Are you guys happy we're back?
No.
So thrilled.
My Sundays have been empty.
Right. Today we are talking about this lovely book that I'm so excited to talk about. So as always, we are going to start out by giving it our rating. And first I have Erin.
I'm going to say 5 out of 5. I loved it. I loved it so much for numerous reasons. I can't find it right now, and I'm really sad because I wanted to reread it again before the chat, but it was great.
Yes. All right. Emma, you're next.
I would also give it 5 stars.
Yay!
I had heard about this back when it first came out, and I never got around to reading it because I was just kind of whatever, and I didn't expect much from it. But then I really loved it, so I'm glad we did it for book club because I don't know if I ever would have gotten around to reading it without that. So yeah, 5 stars.
Yes. Megan.
So on Goodreads, I gave it 4 stars, and I don't totally remember why because I read it before we went on hiatus in case of not having any time from having a baby, which turned out to be a good idea. But I remember loving it and definitely just wanting more, especially of all the aftermath and everything. It was so good. I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah. Kelly.
I rated it 4 stars. I'd probably call it 4.5. I think it suffered from overhype for me a little bit. I'd heard so many people freaking out about it, so I was expecting a little more oh, I can't put this down, which didn't quite hit for me, but I can't think of anything wrong with it. It was still amazing. So
Valid. All right. I'm gonna give it 6 out of 5. Because I love this book so much. This was my book club suggestion, and I'm so happy that we read it, and I'm excited to talk about it because I love it and I'm obsessed with it.
Yay.
So yeah, first thing I wanted to talk about the artwork. We never get to talk about artwork in book club chats, so that's something fun.
Mm-hmm.
The art is absolutely gorgeous. The color scheme is super cool. Character design is amazing. The world design is super fantastic.
See, I think the art is part of the reason I never picked it up.
Really? I love
the front cover. I don't know, just from the front cover, I was and I didn't pick it up. But then, actually reading it, I think the art style fits it really well, and it actually does work really well. But just the cover, had me not sure if I would like it. But yeah, I ended up enjoying the art within the context of the story.
I don't know if that was because Desiree loves it so much, and Desiree also loves Fangirl, but it super gives me Fangirl vibes.
Well, she did the cover art for Fangirl, I think.
Oh, really?
I think I know she did some posters and stuff. But
that makes sense.
And then she did one of in the collector's edition. I think she did one of the pictures on the inside too.
Yeah, she did some art, and she did I think a World Book Day poster. She's done a bunch of Fangirl stuff.
Yeah, she has. Yeah, it is. It does have a very fangirl-esque feel to it.
She has a very distinct art style. I feel like. Yeah. You can always pick out Noelle Stevenson's.
Random side
branding.
She's doing. Noelle Stevenson is doing super well for herself now. She's show running She-Ra and
she's one of the writers on Lumberjanes.
Lumberjanes is really good too.
That series. Oh my god, I'm so obsessed with it. Yes. So it's so funny because in the same week when I was in that section, I picked up Nimona, and then I saw Lumberjanes, and I'm like, okay, all of my queer friends are read Lumberjanes, and they're getting mad at me that I haven't. So I'm like, okay, I'll read Lumberjanes because I saw it in the same section, and I'm like, this really reminds me of Nimona, and then I look at the cover and I'm like, oh, that's what makes so much sense. Yeah, so I love that series now. I'm kind of obsessed with it.
So good.
So good.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the things. So, what was your favorite part of the story? Because I'm curious. Because there was a lot of different elements to this whole story.
The romance between the dudes.
Yeah.
Oh my god, frenemies. Lovers.
So cute.
I literally I just saw a tweet an hour ago that was something about is someone talking about how they love like villains and heroes who like have like sexual tension between them and are like enemies and like each other at the same time. And I was like, it's Nimona.
Yes.
Which actually another art note is definitely from the cover. I thought that was a girl.
Oh,
was a girl on the cover, and then like I actually read it. I was like, oh, it's not. Which was in the story. I think he looks a little bit more like a guy, but I definitely thought it was a woman.
Yeah. The funny thing is like it's the same with Lumberjanes. Like the characters are very like oh boy, my brain just shorted out. The word where you don't look, you're gender neutral looking.
Androgynous.
Thank you. Yes. Oh my God, my brain. I keep blaming it on the baby, but I'm like, he's like 8 months old, so I don't know how long I can like, my brain farts on him. But yeah, like they all look very androgynous, which I think really works for the themes and like for the artwork and
So I know like Noelle Stevenson, like in her personal look, like kind of prefers a slightly more androgynous look too, so.
Which I love. In reality and cartoon.
Oh man.
Yeah, I really like, I mean, I love the romance. I also really like the world. Like I like how it was like this like a mix of like fantasy and like science fiction world. That was really cool.
They just like still have the news and stuff. Like that is great. I would love more fantasy like that.
I've never
science fiction like
there was like magic and technology. Like
I haven't seen that before. I can't think of where I've seen that. At least not for a really long time. And it's very different seeing it in like on the page rather than in writing too, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I think it works really well for a visual form.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's probably easier to pull off this level of world building when you can just show it rather than having to explain. Like, yes, there's all this magic and there's this stuff. It's just like, there's magic and glowing green old things and whatever. Yeah.
Did it make anyone else want to write a graphic novel? I so badly
one of the things I thought was kind of interesting is that like dragons actually exist in this world. Because when Nimona was saying like the rules, she was like, I can only turn into like creatures that exist. So dragons exist in this world. So that's kind of cool. And she's allergic to bananas, which is weird.
It's amazing. It's little details like that that just make it so good, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. It's just like those little touches of like whimsy, like the fact that like his name is Golden Loin and stuff. Really,
I love that she's always like sitting in these funny positions, like she's always on the table or like leaning on him or like crouched. And like the funny thing is, like I see that art now. I look back and I'm like, oh, like I kind of get this now. It was cute and quirky at first, and then I'm like, knowing what I know now with the big twist, I'm like, it kind of works for that twist and that character, right?
Yeah.
For sure.
Did anyone see that coming? Because I definitely did not.
I did not. The first time I read it, I was so shocked. I was like, wait, what? No, I had to like reread it a couple times. I was like, wait, what? Wait, what?
That's the first graphic novel that and it wasn't that part, it was a part near the end in the fight. It's the first graphic novel that I turned the page and went, oh, like really loudly. And I scared Charlie. He was like,
yeah. I was like kind of enjoying it, you know, like I was not enjoying the book, but I was just like, oh, this is kind of fun. And then that happened. And I was like, wait. I'm very invested.
The funny thing is, like, it wasn't even that part that I reacted that strongly to, because that I was like, oh, cool, what? And then, like, spoilers, obviously, but, like, at the end in the big fight, she dies and then comes back later. But, like, the panel where it's like, whoosh, and he chops her head off, I was like, oh, that was the part where I freaked out, because you turn your page.
Can I handle this?
No, cannot be. Yeah. Oh, so good.
It's just so crazy. And like I love like the concept of like the institution. Like that was so interesting, and like how they like were the ones that created like this hero villain system.
And how they are definitely the bad guys.
Right, they're definitely the bad guys. Like when like at the part where they had told Golden Loin to like kill Nimona. Like, it's like at that point, it's like, Golden, like, do you honestly think that you're working for the good guys? Because not only did you almost murder your best friend because of their orders, and now they're ordering you to murder what you think is a small child.
Yeah.
And you think you're still the good guys.
Look at your life. Reevaluate.
Yeah, like when Ballister like said like after they had met at the bar, he's like, I could cut your arm off right now and we'll see if the institution will drop you, like see how fast they'll drop you. And Goldenloin says, you wouldn't do it. And he said, no, I wouldn't. And like, what does that make you? And I was like, yes.
Now kiss.
See Megan just like pushing their heads together.
I really like wanted them to like live happily ever after and like raise Nimona, like even though she's not actually like a child.
Yeah.
She's not actually a child, but you know what I mean.
Adopt a Nimona.
Yeah.
I think it's on Noelle Stevenson's like Tumblr. She's got like little sketches that she did of like them all together at Christmas time and stuff, and I was just
they're in the back
all
of
of
the.
them.
I say they're in the back of the
Yeah, there's
story.
like in the back of the book.
I like the little Christmas story about like when they were in the academy.
Yes.
So cute. And he like gives him his like stuff as a Christmas present, you know.
Oh, it's so cute.
Goldenloin turns out was very like naive and innocent even back then.
Yes. And he's like, weird. Wasn't it? Did he say, weird, you have the same one?
Yeah. He's like, I think I lost it or something.
Oh my gosh.
So cute. My heart.
I wanted a sequel, but that's not happening. But I want
Yeah,
one.
it's not gonna
Anyways,
happen. But
no.
I really want it, like really bad.
Same. Or just like more in that same world, even.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I choose to believe that Nimona is a cat and like follows them around all the time.
Yes.
And like watches them.
Just like messes with their stuff.
Yeah. Like Nimona be the kind of person that waited until they left and like moved everything like 3 inches to the left.
Yeah.
Constantly bumping into everything.
Yeah. Or like Blackheart leaves the room and she just opens all the cabinets.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I think it's interesting that like, you know, the title is Nimona and you kind of like go into it kind of expecting her to be the main character, but like really it seems like Blackheart is more of the main character by the time you get to the end.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Because it like wasn't what I was
dragging
expecting.
a lot more of the plot, it feels like.
Yeah.
He's the one that goes through like the most like change, I think.
He goes through like the hero's journey and everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which yeah, like wasn't what I was expecting. Like I was expecting like this like sidekick of a villain, you know, and like
Yeah.
this main character, but like obviously because you find out like what she really is, it's really more fun.
But I love that though, like he's always the one reining her in. She's like, let's murder everyone.
Yeah. It's like, no.
Nimona, you can't go around murdering people. And she's like, why not? Villains
You're a
got
super-
Bill. Like,
Villain's got a bill, so I like it. Yeah, that was one of my favorite parts. Is when he's like, "You can't just kill people willy nilly. What are you doing?" Oh man,
it's so crazy.
Yeah.
I gotta read it again now.
And it's such a quick read too.
It really
It's a
is.
graphic novel and it's only like
I love graphic
250
novels for
pages.
that. Like, yeah, I can read. It's
I
fine.
hate them for that.
Because it's so short.
Yeah.
Yes, because I'm like, it's
Yeah.
over already.
It's
That's
definitely like,
like full series, and they go on forever, and you have a million of them.
right. This is like the only graphic novel I've ever read where like I got to the end and I was like, I'm really upset that it was so short.
That's how I felt about The Prince and the Dressmaker. Like I got to the end of it and I was like, there isn't any more. I want more of this story and these characters.
Unacceptable.
Why did I read it so fast? Because I read it in like an
What
hour.
was I thinking?
The good thing is you can reread it. That's
Yes.
what we're doing. I don't know if there's something about graphic novels that are just so great for like if you don't want to, I don't know, if you don't want like a really serious deep read or anything, I like read it in the bath or like I don't know. It's just like the perfect thing if you're in like a certain mood. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And for like rereadability,
yeah,
like it almost just like activates like this different part of your brain. Like instead of combing through the prose, which can sometimes be really tiring, you can just like really get into like looking at the pictures and what are all the hidden details and all that.
Yeah. It's definitely like one of my favorite things to reread is graphic novels.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's new things that I notice every time I go through.
Oh,
Which
for
is not
sure.
quite the same with books, yeah.
I want to ask you guys more about like what graphic novels you love, but I guess we should do that after Nimona and not.
We got time.
We should do a whole graphic novel chat at some point.
I'm 100% down for that. Let's do it.
Yeah. And Griswold recommended it as like agreed that they want to write a graphic novel after reading stuff like this, that we should do a whole Sunday chat. I don't know how we'd explain how to do one because we don't know how to do that. But
no, none of us have done that. So it would be very informative.
Bring in a bunch of guests.
I don't even know. That's a good idea. I don't even know how you would go about doing that. Like, obviously, you wouldn't do the drawings, I don't think, normally, unless you were an artist as well. But
I think a lot of graphic novels are by people who do art and writing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can do like
for me.
Yeah.
And Noelle Stevenson, she like built up an audience for these characters first, right?
Yeah, she had a webcomic first.
That makes sense.
I know Shannon Hale has done, like, she's only a writer, not an artist, so she's like done graphic novels with other people.
Yeah.
Webcomics are cool too. Like,
yes.
You find a lot of really interesting like things out there, like Nimona, just like chilling on the internet.
Yeah.
Except I hate
just there for free.
Yeah.
What?
Everyone needs to read Dungeons and Doggos. It's a bunch of dogs playing Dungeons and Dragons.
What?
Oh
my god.
Oh. Yeah.
It's called Dungeons and Doggos.
Yeah. I'll grab the link.
I didn't know I needed that in my life until right now.
It is so
freaking
good.
Dungeons and Doggos.
Oh my gosh.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like, because like they're playing Dungeons and Dragons, but they're also like reacting to things like dogs would. So like something. So yeah, a cloaked figure lurks in the shadows, and then so all of the dogs start barking.
Oh, I'm like obsessed with it already, and I haven't even seen it.
I feel like this is like the perfect thing for like a web series format, like where you just get like a little bit of. Because I was like I still follow like Megan Kearney's Beauty and the Beast webcomic, and like I love it, but I've had to just like stop reading it, and I just check back every once in a while to see how close she is to finishing it. Because like it's like agonizing to only read one panel at a time because it's such an immersive story where like I'm like I don't want to just read one panel once a week and like not know what happens next.
Oh my goodness! I clicked on Dungeons and Doggos. Yeah, okay, I had to click. I had to exit out of it, otherwise my entire brain space would be lost for the rest.
I'm
of the
already 6 strips.
Just like I really want to like just keep looking at it like. The first panels are just like
they're so cute.
Yes.
This is no longer book club. This is a reading club.
It's like a graphic novel reading club right now. It's just all we're gonna do.
It makes me think of too. You were talking about, Emma, how it's more digestible or whatever. Like you just are okay to read one and then move on with your day. And that makes me think of the My Life as a Background Slytherin webcomic as well. It's like I'm always really excited for it to come up, but then I'm fine to just go about my day afterwards. Just feeling happier because it exists.
Yeah.
The best thing is when you find something like that, do you like discover it for the first time and there's like a cajillion for you to go through and you're like, yes, this is my entire week.
Well, like with Beauty and the Beast, like she'd like done she'd done like all but the last part of the story. So like I was just like read through it in like 2 days, like panel after panel. And then I got to the end and I was like, you mean you have to wait like a week for one panel?
What was this for?
It's Beauty and the Beast. It's by Megan Kearney. Oh. It's a really cool retelling of Beauty and the Beast. It's like all in black and white.
That's cool.
I'll put the link.
Man, I know what I'm doing later. just reading a whole bunch of webcomics. That's all I'm
doing. That I need to stop.
I know, like after I clicked X on Dungeons and Doggos, I clicked the link again. So
I
just
know.
so it's there. Like I can't like lose it. Like I can't.
When Megan said my life is a background Slytherin, I'm like, oh, I forgot that existed, and now I'm on that page. So.
Oh man, we were the best at staying on topic.
Yeah.
I'm hosting. It's my job. My bad. Yeah.
I there are links in the discussion section to Dungeons and Doggos and the Beauty and the Beast webcomic now, if you're watching along and want those.
And Beauty and the Beast is almost done. She's on Act 3, so.
I'm gonna wait until
like,
it's done.
I know, right? I just check like once a month, and I'm like, how close is she to finishing now? That way she gets
gonna
page hits, which I feel like is good for her.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be all of us, and then all of the watchers just like silently reading for the rest of the chat.
Oh man. All right, more stuff about Nimona. Sometimes it's so hard to talk about a book that's this good.
Oh yeah,
right.
Because it's like it's really, really good. All right.
Like books you really, really love and books you really, really hate. It's hard to talk about for a full hour.
Yeah.
Because it's like one, you run through everything so fast because you're so excited, and the other, you like don't want to be a terrible human, and so you don't want to say all the things you hated.
Live
About
on the internet.
Yeah.
I like that Nimona has thick thighs. That was a really interesting touch. Also, the thing that made me pick up this book, because when I got this book, I got it like right after it came out, and I had heard nothing about it. I just happened to be in the bookstore one day with my friends, and I like picked it up because it looked interesting. But in chapter 1, when Nimona turns into a shark, when she's like, "I'm not your sidekick, I'm a shark," and the shark has boobs. That's just I was like, "Yeah, this is the book I'm gonna read now."
I definitely didn't even notice that.
I was like, "That's an interesting choice."
Yeah.
When, like things are drawn, everything is a choice. So I was like, "This is the type of book I want to be friends with."
Yeah.
As soon as I saw that when I first flipped through it too, and I was like, "Yep, I'm gonna like this book."
Yeah.
I love, speaking of the shark thing, I love like later when he like gets the call from like the bad guys or something, and he's like freaking out, and she turns into the shark, and she's like, "I'm a shark."
That's what I would do.
All of the I'm a shark moments.
Yeah, if I had shape-shifting abilities, I'd be like, "I'm not Desiree, I'm a shark."
So good.
I love the inside flap, like in like bright colorful words. It says explosions, science and sharks, nemesis, dragons, science, symbolism.
More
all the
sharks.
things that I want in this
We
story.
need more sharks. Oh man.
Man, that's great. I also like that she can, when she shapeshifts, she can partially shapeshift. That's kind of cool. And that honestly should have been like the first hint to like she's not normal.
So that normal. So the whole fact that the whole time he's like, your powers don't make sense. Your whole story of how they came to be doesn't make sense.
Yes. Think about that. I loved all the hair, especially Golden Loins.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
Yeah, also like Nimona's as the book goes on, and she's like, you're seeing the dark side, and it keeps changing more and more.
I love when it goes purple.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like the best.
It was so cute. Like when after she changed her hair, because it was like right after she like had like thrown her tantrum and like gotten really upset. It was like the next day or whatever. He's like, "You changed your hair," and it's like this like awkward like cute moment. Like they're just sitting on the couch.
It reminded me a bit of Scott Pilgrim, the Ramona from Scott Pilgrim, who changes her hair all the time. Ramona and Nimona. Remind me of that.
Now I'm just looking at like fan art of Nimona. It's adorable. because I wanted to go back and look at the shark panel. And then it just started pulling up all this fan art. And what was I supposed to do?
Right?
I'm only human.
Yeah. So I also like when they go to the science fair and she like shapeshifts into basically like the version of him, like as his son. And he's like, carry me.
Yeah.
I just think that's so cute.
Her whole character just picked up on all these small details. Like she was really into the small details. And I think it created this extra like dimension to her personality that I loved.
There's a shark on the cover. I just realized that. I'm sorry.
There is. Let's see.
Yeah, it's in the corners. At least on the paperback one.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah, there are sharks. Look at that.
The camera. I can't see it.
Oh.
How cool.
Very cool.
Oh, I see.
It's such a nice touch. All right. I blew through all of my topics like in the first 20 minutes. I was super excited. I was like, I have all these things to talk about. But when everyone is like, yeah, totally, I agree. And I'm like, oh. I mean, it's essentially, it'd be like me trying to talk about Fangirl for an hour. I mean, I could, but it would be the same thing, just about how awesome it is and how much I love it.
We have literally been there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Our first ever book club. Aw.
Yeah.
I kind of want to go back and watch it, but also I don't want to cringe that much.
Yeah.
Just to see how we did.
Live.
Yeah.
No.
So Dungeons and Doggos. I love that their priorities are very dog-like too. They're like, you've defeated the monsters in this room. What do you do next? And they're all like, loot the bones.
Dungeons and Doggos. That's so much fun. That's just, I want to play a game like of Dungeons and Dragons as a dog.
Yes.
Right?
That would just be really fun.
It's getting very complicated. Number of levels going on here. I just really want to do a graphic novel now. I can't draw it all though, so I don't know.
Well, I started learning how to draw over summer. Like I'm taking a course online and stuff, and I have no talent at this point, but I did think like doing a webcomic or something, even if I didn't show it with anyone, would be a good way to like kind of see the progression over time and like make myself keep drawing. But that's as far as I've gotten on that.
Do
Let
it.
me know, and then we can write it, and then you can draw it.
I can help you draw it. That was my New Year's resolution, was to get better at drawing. I haven't done that much of it.
I always like tell myself I'm gonna try and get better at drawing and like find a class and take it, and then I'm like, well, my husband can draw. He can just do the drawing.
I just don't have enough interest in it. Like I have fleeting interest, but it's not enough to like dedicate real time to it, you know?
Yeah, I don't have like the patience and dedication for it.
Exactly. If it's not writing, I'm like, I'll do it tomorrow.
Pretty much everything right now. I'm like, I'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes. It's like, maybe the next day.
Well, you have a legitimate excuse right now.
Yeah. I drew people holding hands.
Yes. What? They look like real hands.
What?
Aaron definitely can't draw hands. What?
Oh, wow. You are a good drawer.
I'm not. Thank you, but it's not good.
Hands
Like-
are like the hard.
Hands, like, that's why I like did that, like, because hands suck to draw. So I want to draw all the things I don't like drawing, like hands and like bodies.
Here, I drew some hands too.
That looks great.
A+ for me.
In the comments, Jody says, I wanted to read Saga, but there are so many volumes now. Read Saga. It's so great.
It is really good. I've only read the first issue of it. It has a breastfeeding alien on the cover. So
whoa,
nice.
Oh, it does. That's
it does.
And inside the cover, there's an alien orgy in the first one.
Okay.
So that one's for adults.
There's another graphic novel I read forever ago. Oh, yeah, it's called Amulet. It's like a middle grade graphic novel. I read it in middle school, and it's really good. I don't know how many books they ended up writing. I think I read 3 or 4.
I feel like when I worked at Chapters, there's a huge Amulet section. There's a ton of middle grade graphic novels. That section's solid.
That's cool.
Yeah, I definitely really like The Prince and the Dressmaker. Very good.
There's one called Piper, I believe. I haven't read it, but I've heard.
I'm interested.
I think Piper's about the Pied Piper, the story of the Pied Piper.
Oh.
I'm not sure though.
So not about my dog then.
Yeah. I think that would be even better though. We should write a graphic novel about all of the WordNerd dogs.
Yes.
Playing Dungeons and Dragons.
On the WordNerd compound.
Whoa. So the first scene is her giving birth in Saga.
Sounds about right, yeah.
That's
I don't know.
It's really good
right now.
I'm going through trying to remember all the graphic novels I've read. Miss Marvel is great, of course.
Miss Marvel's really good.
I've never really tried DC and Marvel stuff because it's so daunting because there's so much. There's
a lot.
Decades. I'll never read it all.
Yeah. Specifically talking about the new Miss Marvel by G.L. Wilson, which there's 5 issues ever. So I've only read the first one.
But do you have to know about other Marvel stuff?
Not really. I mean, Captain Marvel is Captain Marvel is the one who gives her the powers. But if you just know who Captain Marvel is, then you're good. That's kind of the thing with I mean, I didn't have this is I think Miss Marvel is the first superhero DC or Marvel thing I've ever read like that. But I think in general, you can just pick up the first issue in a new run or series or whatever, and you're fine.
Yeah.
You don't have to have read all of the Batman of ever.
Yeah,
no one would ever read comics ever if that was the case.
Yeah,
I picked up the newest Miss Marvel, not even knowing anything about Captain Marvel other than that she existed, and I was fine.
Yeah.
And had to go back later.
Yeah.
But
I generally knew who Captain Marvel was just because the movie is coming out soon. I was
Yeah.
That character.
And then Miss Marvel's getting a movie too.
yeah.
I've also heard good things about Squirrel Girl.
I haven't read it
Girl.
yet. I don't know if it's a graphic novel or not. We definitely have it shelved in fiction at work.
That's Squirrel Girl. That sounds interesting.
Marvel. He's
It's published by Marvel Comics, but yeah.
I have to look it up. I'm looking up so much right now.
Do you guys hear that rumbling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, you are crazy. Interesting. Also weird.
Yeah, it definitely says that it's a Squirrel Girl novel series. So
So on Wikipedia, it's saying she appeared in comics,
yeah.
but I guess it's the novel series that's doing well.
Yeah. And there's no artist listed on the cover. So it's just Shannon and detail. It's also cool because there's some there's fun superhero type stuff, but there's also really serious graphic novels too. I really liked Lighter Than My Shadow, which is autobiographical about the artist struggled with anorexia and binge eating and trauma and stuff when she was a teenager. And it's her whole story of that, and the artwork is beautiful. It's so well done. Mm-hmm. You can feel the stress and the pain of it while you're reading it.
Oh man.
Yeah. Oh, and what's the John Lewis one?
Yeah, the John Lewis ones are good.
March. That's called. Yeah,
they're really good about the civil rights movement.
And there's also Mouse, which is literally the Holocaust. So.
Yep, with mice.
Oh wow!
And cats. It's really good. I've read that one. It's won a ton of things.
Interesting.
There's so many, like, just like with novels. There's a graphic novel for everything. Because I've also read like some horror ones, like Uzumaki and stuff, and those are great as well. Mm-hmm. And it gave me bad dreams. All the spirals.
I don't think I could do horror graphic novels.
Yeah.
It's too visual.
It was beautiful, but scary.
Beautifully scary.
Yes.
I want to read more graphic novels.
Yeah, hit us up with your favorite graphic novels in the discussion section if you haven't already recommended some. I know we've got some recommendations in there already. Or any other visual storytelling, since that's kind of where we've gone. Webcomics.
All the webcomics.
Comic books.
I love that there's a bunch of like graphic novel like retellings of like classic literature too. I think those are really cool.
Yeah.
Like Pride and Prejudice and the Odyssey and all sorts of stuff like that.
Those are really cool. I read a graphic novel of the Scarlet Letter.
Ooh.
And that was a really, really interesting one.
They recently released a graphic novel of Laurie Haltz Anderson's Speak.
Really?
I'm really excited to read it. I haven't read it yet, but I've heard it's really, really good.
They've done graphic novels of like Cassandra Clare's books and stuff too. I've always
yeah.
And we're getting some graphic novels in the Shades of Magic series.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
great. They're
amazing.
Yeah, so they're about like the king and he was a teenager.
The covers look so good. So I'm very, very excited.
It's very cool that they're doing like multiple covers for each like volume, and so you can like choose the cover you want.
Mm-hmm.
Like different artists.
Cool. Yeah. That's really cool.
They're doing like
all my
4
money
covers
this year
for
would be Schwab stuff. So.
Seriously, she has one book coming out this week, and then like another one coming out in a month.
My bank account cannot handle it.
And then the comics come out sometime this year. Like, it's ridiculous.
I don't know how she functions as a human being as well as writing all of that.
Yeah, like she has all these books coming out, plus she's like writing 2 books right now too.
And also like traveling.
Wow. She's on tour constantly.
I barely keep up with my own normal life. Never mind all of that.
She does it.
I'm gonna be in Atlanta next week, and I'm so sad that I can't go.
Yeah.
Wait, did you say you're going to be in Atlanta next week?
No, Victoria Schwab is going to be in Atlanta next week, and I can't sit in a car that long, let alone go to a book festival immediately afterwards. Speaking of,
I hear tiny baby crying.
Someone is screaming.
So cute.
He's probably hungry. That's the only time he screams. So
that's good. That's
really good.
Plus.
Yeah, he's a very easy baby.
That's really good.
Awesome.
He's cute.
You're not gonna return him?
Mm-hmm.
No,
we'll see. If I make it to recover, then we'll keep him. But
all right. Well, anything else you wanted to touch on, or?
No.
Love it.
Yeah, I love
it. Read Nimona.
Yeah.
We didn't even really spoil it.
Yeah, we really
did.
Yeah. What's up with that?
I spoiled it a little, but not like the big plot twist.
Yeah, not like the actual like big thing that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like we shouldn't spoil it. This long.
All right. Are we gonna call it a little bit early then?
We'll call it.
All right.
We'll be back next week with another
party,
cat.
I think.
Yeah, I have party written down.
Party.
And I'll bring wine this time.
Yes.
I will too.
Yes.
I'll make sure I have some.
Perfect.
Excellent.
Bring any of your writing questions, because I'm sure we'll have time to answer them.
Cool.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming and hanging out and talking with us about Nimona and other graphic novels and webcomics and everything else we talked about tonight. It was a lot of fun. I am so glad we are back from hiatus. This week, what are we doing for videos?
FAQ
videos. All right. So there will be things up this week. And so we will see
New exciting things.
Questions to be answered. Things to be demystified. Anyway, we will see you next Sunday. Bye.
Bye.